Now this patient here had a failed hair transplant some 2 years back, which was revised at Darling Buds Clinic using our specialized direct hair method, that is the anagen Q+ technique. So the patient after his hair transplant failed to grow much hair, and the reason why the hair transplant did not succeed is that there was intense scarring in the recipient area. There is a method in my technique which I use in cases with dense scarring in the recipient area due to my experience in management of wounds and management of scar tissue due to my background as a plastic surgeon. So in this case, we managed to grow a lot of hair in spite of the fact that there was thick scarring all over the recipient area. So stay on and we'll discuss this case in this video. For those who have not subscribed yet, I request them to subscribe. It gives me adequate motivation to produce more videos without any commercial intent so that you can do your research properly. I also request you to visit my page on Instagram, Darling Buds Clinic, which is just short of 1 million followers. I am sure you can help. So before I discuss this case of revision hair transplant, I would just make these terminologies very clear. The terminologies of repair and revision. In what cases is repair done and in what cases is revision done? So there are two types of cases when hair transplant goes wrong. One is a bad hair transplant and the other one is a hair transplant that has failed. There's a lot of difference between these two terminologies. On one hand, bad hair transplant means a hair transplant which is poorly planned and a hair transplant which is poorly executed. A hair transplant which is listed for surgery without much thought. A hair transplant in which the case selection was improper. Though the clinic might have a lot of insight in commerce and revenue generation, but they lack in proper training, proper development of skills, proper team coordination, proper qualification, proper training, experience and skill which is required to do this skill-based surgery, that is hair transplant. They cannot render safe, effective hair transplants case after case. When a hair transplant clinic desires financial gratification far in excess of academic qualification, it often leads to a bad hair transplant. Correction of a bad hair transplant is referred to as repair hair transplant. And this is different from a revision hair transplant, which happens in failed hair transplants. A failed hair transplant can occur in the best of clinics. The hair may not grow due to a variety of reasons, though this is quite rare. If proper technique, proper training, proper skill is used, poor growth is rarely seen. So a failed hair transplant might not have anything to do with poor technique or poor training or poor commitment of the hair transplant clinic, of the hair transplant doctor and of the hair transplant team. Also, a failed hair transplant may be in the mind of the patient. A patient sometimes has a reasonably satisfactory result, but if this patient wasn't counseled properly, if his sky-high aspirations from a hair transplant, if his unreasonable, irrational goals and objectives were not watered down, were not discussed and recalibrated, he is likely to think that his hair transplant has failed. Even the best results in the best of hands, the patient may not be satisfied. And in such cases, the patient is the final arbiter of a hair transplant result. The result that a patient thinks he has achieved is the success of a hair transplant, not what the doctor thinks it to be. So whereas a repair hair transplant might be required to be done in cases like this, in the present case, today's young man who came to us with a failed hair transplant from another clinic done by the FUT method, and in whom we did the FUE method, direct hair method, using our trademark technique, the anagen Q+ technique, we were able to grow lush hair as you can see in this picture. So enjoy the result and let me know if you have any question to ask and I'll be happy to answer. Have a nice day and do subscribe to my channel. I'll be grateful. God bless you.